The one eternal search that we all have is always going to be the search for value. The question of what kind of value we're looking for solely depends on who we are and what we're looking for out of life. In my opinion, life is purely transactional. Doesn't matter who you are, what you do, your name or title. Someone is always going to be looking for something out of you, like you're always going to be looking for something out of them. In which case, this doesn't have to be a bad thing. So to deny this idea of a purely transactional world is to almost be completely disillusioned with reality. I think it's better to look at life this way instead of acting like the world that we want to live in is even close to a possibility. Because it's not. The more you recognize the ability for you to produce value for someone else, the easier life will start to become. This is where good parenting and good teaching and good mentors and people like that from our youth really helped out a lot. If you had someone in your life who showed you value and showed you what it meant to produce it and the transformative nature that providing value for others, like what that does for you, you would start to see that life doesn't really suck. But if you never knew how to produce value, if it was never something that you knew how to create on demand, then life's probably a little slow for you right now. It's probably a little irritating. It's probably a little frustrating to have to wake up to, because most likely this is you living a life where you are producing value on a much lower scale than what you'd like. So in this video, I want to help people understand and help my people, my tribe, understand what it means to produce value at a higher level and to ultimately become a value-driven juggernaut. So we'll start with what a life looks like without producing real value. Most of us came from the indoctrination machine, right? School, who told you that the only way that you can produce value is by pursuing a piece of paper that says so. That's the biggest lie of them all, because as you can see, our economy is not driven by paperwork. Paperwork that shows that you have an outdated skill. Not the green paper, not the blue paper, the paper that everybody wants. I'm talking about degrees, I'm talking about certificates, things that says that you're a valuable person. Now, for all my people who still in school, this ain't a shot, but you don't need a piece of paper to prove to you and the world at large that you're valuable, because you have a fully working, operational brain with creativity and imagination inside that can create a reality that piece of paper cannot. So I just want to throw that out there, what that looks like for people who don't feel like their life is producing the things that they ultimately want. We'll check that box off. Ultimately, the life that you're seeking comes from real value, and it comes from people recognizing this value at scale. It's ultimately no way to live a life that you want when the experiences that you're producing every day are not ones of personal growth, personal development. It's not leading you through a sense of purpose or passion. The activities are rather mechanical. You know what to expect. Life is pretty boring from that perspective, right? So the person who is constantly seeking personal growth and development, they in themselves make themselves valuable. And it's this value from a high value individual that ultimately creates the buzz around them that says, hey, I know how to write, right? Writing is a skill. Speaking is a skill. Being able to pull at the heartstrings of people, knowing how to speak to their pain, knowing how to speak to their heart, because we don't like to be around people who only speak logical facts. We want people who can speak to our hearts and move us to do things that we otherwise didn't feel empowered to do before. This is why we like motivational speakers, right? What do they speak to? They speak to the pain of us not feeling like we're not producing potential at a much higher level. So they speak with passion, they speak with purpose behind their words, and they invoke us to become more, to do more, to have more out of life. You can call them gurus, you can call them whatever you want, but ultimately these people have it. They know what they're talking about. Honestly, ask yourself, if you're not at the level of life that you want to be in right now, are what these gurus or motivational speakers saying wrong? I didn't think so. So we gotta stop writing these kind of people off, because honestly what they're really doing in society is a service. They're raising the collective consciousness of human beings to help us become more, to show us a better way. And to be quite honest, if this is not something that you're actively doing on a daily basis, you're really missing out on a reality that you can be in complete control of. The average person is underpaid, severely stressed, and living a reality they don't want. And how long can a person like this go on living? How long can you go on living like this? If this is you, if this applies, you and I both know it's leading to a mental breakdown. You and I both know that this is leading to burnout, if you're not burnt out already. And what is burnout? Honestly, it's a place or a state of mind where you're just mentally tired. You're exhausted. You're doing things and you're living a life that you're just not 100% in alignment with, as far as the things you're doing, the belief systems, the value that you're putting out, right? That's what ultimately leads to a really burnt out mind and a burnt out life. So what you want is a new reality. You want a life that you can be in complete control of, where your creativity can soar, mentor, and you have the autonomy to do what you want with your time, with your money, with the people you want to do these things with. I remember getting my real estate license, and that was during COVID. That was at a time where real estate was really popping. It was like really booming. Interest rates was stupid low. So you would think that was a great time for a lot of realtors, which it was, for a lot of realtors to do the things that they wanted financially. You know, clientele was booming. It was at a time where a lot of people were just looking for homes and wanted a new life. It's kind of crazy that during COVID, that's how it was. Kind of think about, I don't understand that too much, but the world seemed like it was standing still, so I don't know why people was buying homes like crazy. I don't know. I don't know the politics behind it, whatever. I got my license, I started practicing, I got a part of a good brokerage, met a lot of good people, got into some good circles, and I started realizing like, I really don't care about houses. I don't care about selling them. I don't care to really be around this environment where I'm forced or feel forced just because I got my license to have to practice and do something that I really didn't want to do. It was the same thing when I was pursuing my IT certifications, when I wanted to get into IT and level up in my career path and make more money, get my Maryland and health insurance licenses. Like I done been through it all as far as certifications and getting the proper accreditations to make more money. Like I pursued it all. Ultimately, all these things led to me still feeling like I wasn't on par with the reality that I wanted to create. But nonetheless, I still seen dots, and I seen how they all connected to one major common theme, which was being of use to people. I started noticing my ability to speak to people, right? The clientele with my real estate license and health insurance, I was able to talk people into some deals. So selling wasn't the difficult part. It was selling something that I didn't really want. It was selling something that my heart wasn't into. So that may be where you are. You may be really good at what you do. The money might be good, but ultimately you're not happy. That's not what you want. That's not what you desire out of your life. You want to be of higher use and of higher value through the lens of purpose, through the lens of having passion every day you do what you do. And no, it's not always about money, but money is a big part of it. But for those who are going, oh, I can't stand rich people, here's another guy on YouTube preaching about money, preaching about what we should be doing and yada, 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 yada. I mean, if you're like me, bro, you heard it all. Right, you heard it all about money being the root of all evil, and too much of it will corrupt you, and this, that, and the third. Come on, bro. Come on. Money is value. Money is a paper note that says, in exchange for goods and services, this is what I will offer you. This is the tender. This is the piece of paper that says so. So yes, if you're going to live a life of true value, you're going to need money. And it's this money that can create that autonomy in your life to do the things that you actually want to do, where you can then transcend into a higher place of value and offer people even more of who you are. Most people are suffering by default instead of suffering on purpose. And the suffering that I'm referring to is you learning and growing as a person and adopting the necessary skills that can change your life. Once I stopped pursuing everything that didn't matter and I started focusing and honing in on the real value that I could create through a specific set of skills, that's when my life changed. Hands down, that's when my life changed. But prior to that, yes, I was suffering. I was going through a whole lot. Financially, mentally, emotionally, just trying to find my way and understand the unique value that I gave and that I could offer to another person. And I feel like that's where people really are suffering, is that they don't know the value that they can offer another person. That real, true, authentic way of providing a transformative outcome for another person. Now, what that outcome is, I can't decide for you. That's something that only you can find out about. But the personal stages that I went through, it changed my life. It showed me more of who I can be and the kind of value that I can bring to the world at large. The 5 stages, I'll go through them. Number 1 was my awakening point. I think that's kind of self-explanatory, but I'll get into it for a second. This is me just having a realization of who I am. Reaching a point of severe pain in my mind and in my reality about who I didn't want to be, and setting myself for the stage of mastery and reaching forward for self-actualization. I wanted to become a different person. So you have to have a desire. You have to have an awakening within yourself to say, I want more out of life. You start to have a more increased awareness of who you are, the more you start to search within. Value before you can offer to another person begins with you. You have to see the value in yourself. The more you start to explore your own thought patterns and the limiting beliefs that you have, you start to see and be more aware of the things that's been holding you back all along. You start to challenge former beliefs and be more perceptive to a different worldview that can ultimately change your life. Number 2 was self-reflection. This just goes into further introspection and where I started to look within myself more. I went deeper, exploring my thoughts, my feelings, trying to understand my behaviors and why I was doing specific things that was leading me to nowhere. Really heart checking myself, looking into my motivations and why I was doing certain things, and lo and behold, it always went back to a teaching that I myself didn't choose to want to learn, or it was an education that I didn't opt to want to take on for myself. So as I started going through these thoughts, I started thinking more and doing more inner work. I decided to start journaling. I decided to start writing, brain dumping my thoughts, really putting them on paper and trying to analyze more on an analytical level who I was and what I wanted. And I started to learn about myself. Writing is a powerful tool. Writing is a powerful, powerful tool for cognition, for developing your brain, for developing your thoughts, and understanding who you are. So I would strongly recommend it. That is a skill within itself. Being able to articulate your thoughts on paper and then be able to verbally output them onto a mic, like what I'm doing, like what you're listening to on YouTube, it's a powerful tool that will drastically, and I mean drastically, change your entire life. Number 3, letting go. I had to realize that I couldn't hold on to specific things. That if I was going to gain more insight and more clarity into the life I wanted, and that if I wanted to lay hold to a reality that I wanted for myself, I had to let go of a lot of things that I was taught. Religious teaching, the way I viewed relationships, the way I started looking at myself and my relationship to the world. Once I started to actually think and not just adopt a mind that was put inside of me and started to recognize what I thought was best for myself, again, more doors started to open. All of my beliefs haven't been completely morphed. I still do believe there is a God, so surprise, surprise, if you didn't know that. But as far as how things came to be, creation, all those other things, I don't know. I mean, I have my beliefs, I have my thoughts, but I decided to take the information that was given, and instead of use it as law and take it as law, I started to decipher what I believed was true and what was not, adding to my life the parts that made sense and discarding the ones that didn't. Now, you gotta have the courage here. You have to have the courage here to be vulnerable. You're gonna be vulnerable. A lot of things that you believe are true just might not be. And that's hard for people to accept. That's hard when you come to find out that certain things that you believe have been the truth your entire life are a lie. But this is where discernment comes into play, and you need to figure out what's truth and what's not. I mean, we're all on our own journey, so recognizing the things that are valuable to you, and again, like I said, discarding the things that are not, will change your life drastically. You start integrating your new insights and the new understanding that you're reaching about who you are and the unique value that you bring to the world. I started being in a higher state of enlightenment and increased consciousness and understanding more of the contribution that I can make to humanity. You have to believe that you're capable of changing the world. You have to. Nobody who goes on to do anything of real worth or noteworthy praise in the world believed that they couldn't do it. Thus, what prompted them to do it in the first place was their belief. So you have to adopt a somewhat delusional belief in your ability to do something that's completely extraordinary and that's never been done before. You have to start believing in the truest core values of who you are as a person. Being more mindful, right? Taking the time out your day to get away from the noise and everything else that's distracting you and start to really become one with who you are. When you become more empathetic and live more compassionately towards people, this opens your heart for your ability to create, because you're not doing it for selfish intent. Your whole goal and the whole aim behind it is to create something transformative for another person. You're driven from a place of selflessness, creativity. You want to live to be of use. You want to live to be of higher worth to the people that you're around, family, friends, coworkers, customers, consumers. It doesn't matter. Wherever you are, whatever your goal is, this state of integration with the highest form of your being, you start to emanate more value. You start to create more value. Your mind is open to the prospect of living at a much higher plane than what you've been used to. And number 5, the last stage is expansion. These are all steps in the personal value ladder and value creation ladder that I personally went through, and that I believe is what anybody who decides to want to do something great will have to go through. But this last stage is living from a place of interconnectedness. Again, you attaching yourself to your highest core values, but now integrating yourself into circles and with people who want to live at that higher level. You got to build yourself into a place that's virtually impenetrable by negativity. And the way you're going to stay there is through connecting yourself to purely positive people who also are seeking transformative outcomes for themselves and other people. people who are purely purpose driven, who want to live and aim to reach their highest calling and potential. The shit sounds cheesy to people who only believe in what they can see, or they only believe in the now and not putting in the work to become something later. So if you find yourself around these people when you're talking this kind of talk, please get away from them, because all they're going to do is kill your purpose. Get away from them, and get away from them now. You need just as many delusional people around you to accomplish your goals. You need other weirdos. You need people who see the world from a much different lens, and who are going to help you to fix your sight on the thing that you're trying to accomplish also, while you giving them that value in return. The way to express the highest value, in my opinion, is through entrepreneurship. It's the journey of you becoming a highly valued individual in society. And the reason why I say entrepreneurship is because the value is reciprocated. You need to be supported financially so you can live in this world, but you're also creating transformative products and services for people who want what you're offering. Now, this will only apply to people who are actively on their journey or they're about to start, because the road gets hard. The road to entrepreneurship gets very, very difficult, and if you're not equipped mentally, if you don't have the mindset to continue to produce day in and day out high levels of output, high levels of value creation with next to no return on your investment, then this journey's not for you. It's not for you. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's not. This is the safety net that a paycheck offers. This is the safety net of working for someone else and giving your creativity, your time, and your energy away to a person who's actually done the work. This is what most people opt to do. They, in a sense, sell their own life force, their creativity, their unique value in return for safety. And that, to me, is the riskiest shit of all. I like what Jim Rohn said. He said it's all risky. The 40-hour work week, the business that you want to create, it's all risky. You don't have a clear outcome on anything you're doing, but that's where your belief, right? The value ladder that you climb within yourself, that's where it comes from. You have to have an unwavering belief. What you're believing in, what you're doing, what you're creating, who you're becoming is all eventually going to pan out in the way that you want it to. The easiest thing I could tell you is do without expectation, and you're gonna have to do it for a long time without expectation. Wealth, money, that's a spiritual result. That's a very high spiritual result that comes from you creating a high level of value over a long period of time. The average person has been taught to go to school, get a job, work really hard, work really long hours, and hope and pray someone notices you and wants to promote you. This never happens. This was the default settings we were programmed to internalize. And it's true. That's exactly what we were taught to take in. That was our belief system. That's what we were taught by people that we trusted. Teachers, parents, authority figures. Do this one specific thing, reap this one specific outcome. And you're seeing from the world you live in now, the economy, it's not that way. Everything has changed. Everything has evolved. If you're going to live in this world, you have to be able to produce value at a much higher level than most people, at scale. And again, this is what a business offers. This is when I started getting into the one-person business I did and really finding my way in entrepreneurship and going through the motions, landing pages and email automations and all this other stuff. That's when you start to learn you can actually make a lot of money by yourself. You can start to make a schedule and a life surrounded by doing the things that you want to do, by being completely authentic to you and living a life of true purpose and autonomy. Most people already know about the one-person business, but just to go over it in a nutshell, it goes a little something like this. Most people would say identify your niche, identify your target market, identify the people you want to help, yada, yada, yada. But I say you be who you are. You internalize and begin to self-actualize, taking in the interest, the knowledge, skill sets, and the curiosity of things that you want to explore. And you begin to promote these things socially. Now, I'm speaking through the lens of a personal brand. I'm not talking about, you starting off with a team of people and, building a company together, which then, of course, you can still start a personal brand if you're one of the founders. But I'm speaking to people who are just looking to start a business by themselves. You're going to need a personal brand. And if you want a brand that would attract an audience nearly immediately, the quickest way to do that is just being yourself. Talk about things that matter to you. Talk about your interests. Display a real skill set. Create a roadmap for yourself. Create real-time goals and map out your progression. Create checkpoints. You need to know how the success needle is even being moved. You need to know what levels of value are you passing through that other people can receive from you. This can be in the form of a product, right? A digital product or a service. It doesn't matter what it is. Just create something that matters to you. Package it in a way that makes sense through persuasive writing. All right, this is where copywriting, for all my marketers out there, right on. Yeah, y'all know what y'all doing. But this is where speaking in a way that people can understand that what you're selling matters. Speak to their hearts. Speak to their pains. And be real about your transformation. Be real about this thing that they're looking for, because it applies to you. You don't have to try to sell anything or to scam people into buying anything that you don't believe in yourself. The reason why I talk about becoming a niche of one and promoting your own interests and skills is because you know what it took for you to get where you are. You don't have to try to sell something that you don't believe in, because ultimately the thing that you are selling, you know what it did for you. There's always someone 2 to 3 steps behind you. I don't care who you are. You might think that you selling what you're selling, or the idea that you have doesn't mean much to someone, but you have to stop thinking from a lens of people knowing what you know. They don't. Set up your online presence, right? Create social platforms, IG, YouTube, right? Create long form and short form content that people can consume so you can build your authority. The goal is to create as much community service content as possible when you're starting a business, because I know if I ain't never seen you before, I'm not buying. Right? I don't trust you. Who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it? So you want to be top of mind, and the way you're going to become top of mind is by building a presence where people are constantly able to see you and consume what it is that you do. Simon Sinek said it best. People don't consume what you do, they consume why you do it. This is where a strong why comes in, because when you know why you're doing it, when you believe in the outcome, when you believe in the value that you can create for another person, this is going to be a motivating factor during those dry seasons when things ain't looking so hot as an entrepreneur, right? And just in general in life, things ain't gonna always go your way. You gotta have a literal bulletproof mindset from the bullshit, because the stress of building a life and creating a reality as an entrepreneur, it gets hard. This is why I said most people don't have businesses, and why most people opt for the 40-hour work week, because of the security that comes with it. But I digress. Develop your brand. Talk about the things you like to talk about. Bring real transformation. Become a generalist over a category. You don't have to become the master of one thing anymore. Most people who master only knowing how to sell shoes, it's just a shoe. They might know a little bit about the laces. They might know a little bit about the company who sells them. They only know how to sell the shoe. Who would you rather trust? The person who knows how to just sell the shoe, or the person who not only knows how to sell the shoe, they know where it's manufactured, they understand the material, they understand how it's made, they understand where and how you can get discounts. They know more about just of how to sell it. They're a generalist. They have a general sense of understanding over a broad category, and they have a lot of knowledge in that category. So you showing up every day, speaking on topics, even you don't have to have 100% understanding about the thing that you want to teach and talk about. You just have to have enough knowledge and learn and grow in that knowledge to build authority. With personal brands, people buy the person, right? They buy the person, they buy the beliefs, they buy the mindset. This is what people do when they're creating their own brands, their own personal brands. The thing they're selling is nice, and it might be very transformative. Most likely you're buying it because of the outcome, but you're buying also the person who's selling it. They became a trusted source in your eyes. And you want to start marketing. You want to start selling your thing, networking, building your circle, like I said earlier, of individuals. You want to start getting yourself in rooms, getting yourself uncomfortable in these rooms, and realizing that you may not always be the smartest person. Most times you won't be. If you want to be in the room where you're not the smartest person, to be quite honest, so you can learn, so you can consume. It would amaze you how much more knowledge a person has about the thing that you want to do. It'll blow your mind, honestly. But you got to be willing to humble yourself and come from a place of learning, right? To reframe your focus as the student so you can learn and grow in your own domain, right? And become a master of your own domain by learning what this person knows. Network to promote yourself. Share valuable content related to your interests. Engage with your audience and connect with other creators in your field. So you want to be around people who are like you. When your circle becomes stronger and you're learning from people who are just like you, this further reinforces your thoughts and your processes of how to build something valuable for other people. It only helps. It only helps when you're around people who are doing what you're doing, obviously. And overall, just recognize it's a long process. It's a process of you becoming a person who's capable of doing a thing so they can have the things that they desire. Become, do, have. And just some other insights, right, that might be of use. You want to study psychology. You want to Study persuasive writing, study the mind, right? Neuroscience. All these things help you further understand more about yourself and understand who you're trying to help. Entrepreneurship is a rough road. It's a rough road, and learning the unique value that you offer another person can take even longer if you're not in an active learning mindset, a growth-oriented mindset. So take your time, learn and consume, and enjoy the ride. That's all I got for now. I thought this was a pretty cool video. I enjoy talking about it. I love seeing people grow. I love seeing people break free from the 9-to-5 rat race. I love seeing people evolve mentally, emotionally, and spiritually and go on to create realities that they ultimately want for themselves instead of accepting one that they were given. I preach and promote entrepreneurship like crazy because it truly is the keys. It is the keys to the city. So free your mind, start your journey, liberate yourself from the chains of the 40-hour work week or from the client work or business that you're doing where you don't have the autonomy and the freedom that you desire to do the things you want, to create the time, to create the income. All these things that you feel like you're lacking is on the other side of what you're willing to learn. You got to stay in that growth mindset and believe at all costs it's possible. But that's all I got. Like I said, hope this video was of value to you. If it was, please feel free to click like and subscribe. All right, all that good stuff right here. I'll attach some other helpful videos that'll help you along your journey as an entrepreneur. Download the Create Your Own Reality workbook. Also, same thing, hard reset your mind, become a person of value, prepare yourself for entrepreneurship. Lock in, family, create value, and as always, create your own reality. See y'all in the next video.